Happy Monday, y'all. I'm wishing y'all a good week. Let's get into it. So, I've been going down a rabbit hole with this Nolan Wells case, okay? And over the weekend, they released, well, it's been all over social media and some of the media, the entire boat towed dispatcher call and a dispatcher name on it. Her name is Vicky. But if you listen at the beginning, the first 30 seconds into the call before the dispatcher come on, you hear like voices in the background, like Nolan, no, or like, is he dead? And then somebody said, Nolan, get the F up, you know. And then Vicky comes on, and then I believe the so-called friend Warren started talking to her, and he sounded totally like intoxicated. Either he was drinking or he's just high. And then she goes through a series of questions to find out what's wrong on the boat. Apparently, the boat was taking on water. She gets the coordinates. She says, "Oh, that's Horn Island. Are you on land?" Yeah, or and he said first he said he was in 17 foot of water, then he said 30. So apparently he was in the deep. She tried to get the exact number of people on the boat. That was like pulling a teeth out because it was so difficult to get. She asked how many adults on the boat. First he said zero, but I guess he meant there were no adults on the boat because he says everybody's under age 18, under 21. I suppose you're supposed to have an adult on the boat to drive it. And also, I think there's a law against uh, driving and boating, I guess. Um, Under influence, definitely you could have heard of that. Sound like some chaos was going on in the back 30 seconds before Vicky came on the call. And he was asking for assistance. So she did ask him, hey, do you want me to like call the Coast Guard? That was immediately no. But wouldn't you think if you're in 17 foot, 30 foot of water, the deep, and you're in this boat? I saw a picture of the boat. I forgot the model, but the first part of the boat name was Trident. But anyways, one of the media podcasts I was listening to and watching, they had a picture of the boat, and the boat didn't look that great in size. So 7 people on there was a tight fit, I'm thinking. And she went on with him, and finally she tried to get as much information. Then she was going to transfer the call to the captain, I guess, of the boat towing company. And when you hear on there apologizing to the man because she was getting to transfer the call, but she was anticipating it was going to be a difficult call for him. And then she also, Warren, the so-called friend, stated that his father had membership, I guess, with this towing service. Anyway, when Vicky got on with you guys have to look it up and listen all the way through. Try to get the one with the long version and listen to the one that they enhance in the beginning, the first 30 seconds, to hear what is being said. And I have listened to it along with other social media people a couple times, and it does sound like they're saying, is he dead, and stuff like that. And that call is a real call. Now they're trying to authenticate the first 30 seconds, but it seems to be very real, and not AI. So let's get into it. So when she got on the phone, the dispatcher Vicky, with this captain, she described the boat, said the kid had said his father had membership, and he says, hey, I just got off the phone with his grandpa. I think the grandpa had a membership, and the grandpa was telling the captain that they didn't need help anymore. But yet this kid is calling saying the boat is taking on water. So something is up. Some people are saying, was this a call to be like an alibi because something happened on the phone? I mean, on the boat. Um, the call itself was weird. Okay. And first of all, that's one thing against them if they were intoxicated, underage, and didn't have an adult on the boat driving. I say that's one. And if something happened and it looked like something happened to Nolan, and it sounds like Nolan was on that boat because you can hear the name of Nolan being called in the back. You have to listen really careful. First 30 seconds, guys. What happened? Did something happen on the boat? Was there an altercation? Did Nolan fall, hit his neck, hit his head? And then that was it. They got scared because there was an altercation. Maybe somebody pushed him, maybe somebody hit him, something happened, and they get scared and don't want to be held accountable. And then everybody else around on that boat saw what happened. I just think the person, if they did not hurt him and they saw what happened, they should speak up. Maybe they're being threatened. Like, if you say something, we'll do this. I don't know. But if it's an accident, why not say it's an accident? But all this cover up, and it's suspicious. Okay. Then also, two of his so-called friends went on this podcast. If y'all haven't watched over, I'm not going to say the individual name of the podcast, just some of it. Officer T, that's not the whole name, but it's guy, I guess maybe he's a real officer or a former officer. I don't know his background, never watched his show before. A lot of people apparently did not like any of the interviews, and apparently they're calling him Coon and Uncle Tom because apparently, again, in the past, he doesn't speak well of his own kind. So I don't know if that's why his podcast was chosen by these two friends. And then in the beginning, right, they shut down all their social medias, these so-called friends. Why are you going on these podcasts? Because a lot of people saying you're making yourself look guilty, okay? If his parents or whoever advised them to be quiet, this was a bad suggestion and decision for them to go on these podcasts. It's better if you go to the sheriff or wait your day in court, or just bad decisions. So yeah, I am with the whole social media. I'm invested in this case, and I want to know the truth just for the parents, because as a parent, I would want to know the truth. And I think any other parent, doesn't matter the race or color, if something happens to your child, you would want to know. I mean, I can compare it to a case at this college, USF. These two students, almost time for graduate, was murdered, and it was murdered by, like, I think one of them roommates. And our sheriffs and the students who got murdered were not white. They weren't black. They were of what is it? The Indian descent. And those sheriffs in that county went after it and found who did it. Okay? So it doesn't matter. And those parents, at least they knew what happened to their child, what really happened to their child. Okay? So I think any parent, doesn't matter your culture, your race, or whatever, you want to know what truly happened. If there's a cover up and somebody just come out and speak the truth. But if you notice lately, even our government and everything, the truth is not at the top of the list. It's more the lies. But the more you lie and lie and lie, what is done in the dark, it always come out in the light. There's a verse in the Bible that basically say the same thing. Can't remember it right now, but it's similar. It will come out, and it will come out one day. Unfortunately, for some things that are done wrong, In the past, it takes years. But hopefully, social media and independent news, we're like a dog on a bone. We got a hold of the bone and we're not letting it go. Or some dogs like sticks. We gotta bite into that bone and we're not gonna let go until something sheds light on the truth. And that's what we're looking for, the truth. Anyway, guys, you all, have a good day. And the rest of your week. Please like and subscribe. Personal opinions, my thoughts. And yeah, I'm totally invested in this.